My defining moment for wanting to marry Apphia was when I realized how she could open the world up for me. Nicholas Warren, I'm thrilled to be marrying Apphia tomorrow. I'm from Walton, Kentucky, and I'm excited to be a part of the Will You Marry Me project.
Hi, my name is Apphia, and I'm excited to be getting married to Nick this weekend.
So we knew of each other from Facebook, and we didn't really know it at all, but we were checking each other out a lot on Facebook.
I met Nicholas 4 years ago at my 10-year reunion from college. I was actually engaged to someone else, and he was proposing to someone else, and he actually asked me to take the photos of the proposal.
When we first met, we were actually both engaged to other people, and that was at the Air Force Academy at her 10-year class reunion. Things went the way they went. We both wound up, single again. And I was headed to the gym one evening, and I sent her a message on Facebook.
So I was living in Belgium at the time, and I was in a relationship with my business partner that failed, and I moved back home around September of 2015. And he and I hadn't actually had much contact after he proposed. So, he proposed, and I took the photos and congratulations, whatever, and then we didn't really say much else to each other. And when I moved back to the States, we were friends on Facebook, and just kind of by happenstance, I was driving home for Thanksgiving, and he reached out to me on Facebook just kind of out of the blue and was like, "Hey, I see you're back in the States." And I was like, "Actually, yes, I'm in Ohio going home for Thanksgiving." And he was like, "You're in Ohio?" I was like, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I'm in Ohio too. So do you want to come down and go to dinner?"
And she responded and called me probably 5 minutes later. And it was real coincidence. I had no idea she was from Toledo, so I was in Dayton at the time, and it was about to be Thanksgiving, and she was actually living in DC at the time, but her family's in Toledo. She's from there,
and I was kind of like, "Oh, yes, I would like to come down and go to dinner." I had found out the relationship broke down because obviously I was friends with the person he was with, so it was kind of, I wouldn't say a public breakup, but it was pretty clear they were no longer together. So it wasn't an issue of going down there wondering what the relationship status was. I knew that relationship was finished. And when I got down there, I explained to him that my relationship was also over, and we kind of commiserated about what happened in both our relationships, and then kind of started dating from there.
I think that was probably like a Tuesday or Wednesday, and so she came over, and we went out to eat and everything that following Friday, and started dating, and rest is history, right?
We're actually getting married on our 2-year anniversary, so it's 2 years to the date that we're getting married.
Who shops more? That would definitely be her, right? I am, I guess, the typical man, right? I know what I want when I go to the store, be it Nordstrom, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. I walk in, I get what I came for, and I walk back out, right? She is about having an experience when she shops and walking the whole damn store. And every now and then I get drugged through that.
So the cook in our relationship is definitely Nicholas. I told him when we met he could have a cooker or a looker, and he chose a looker. I'm not at all humble.
She claims that she's a better cook, but she does not like to cook. So usually I wind up cooking because I get hungry. Truthfully, she knows how to cook, and she does really well. The things she does, she just not very often,
Who wears the pants in the relationship? So I really want to say Nicholas, but I know it's probably me. So again, I'll go to a tie.
She has her girly thing she's bubbly about, right? I mean, you talk to her about our pets, the 2 cats. She gets real bubbly and like a little girl, She has her favorite stuffed animals from when she was little. She still gets real bubbly and excited about that. But yeah, Apphia Taylor is a professional, right? She has a career, and she's she's very serious about those kinds of things in her life.
Neat freak between the two of us. Well, I was in the military, but Nicholas is pretty OCD, so I'd have to say it's a pretty even tie.
Who takes the longest to get dressed? You know, it's funny. If you count like hair and makeup and stuff, it's definitely her. But you know, when it comes to just actually putting your clothes on, I got to do, you know, socks, pants, shirt, tie, all that kind of stuff. You know, and she just throws a dress on over her head and zips it up. It's done. You know. Right. So. I mean, actually getting dressed, she's way faster.
Who's the budgeter and who's the spender? That's an interesting question. I think all your questions are pretty interesting, actually. Nicholas budgets, but he also has a high appetite for expensive things. I don't budget, but I'm a little bit more thrifty on how I spend. So it kind of balances out.
That's an interesting dynamic between the two of us. I track my money down to the cent. I have a budget spreadsheet. I use an Excel. I schedule all my bills, everything. I track my money exactly down to the cent. She does not keep a budget or anything like that, but she's real tight with money. You know, she's very frugal. So it's kind of interesting, right? I'm the one who tracks my money and more or less not afraid to spend it, and she's a little more tight-fisted, but doesn't keep track of anything.
Who's the agitator in the relationship? Wow, probably me. I mean, it depends on what I'm agitating about, but I would say Nicholas is way more likely to walk away from something. Well, he thinks he's walking away. He passive aggressively walks away, but he'll walk away, whereas I'm more aggressive, and that's really cultural. I mean, I think that, you know, being a Black person, we're okay with confrontation, and I understand that maybe other cultures are not as okay with that. So yes, I maintain the agitator hat.
Who's the agitator in this relationship? That would be me. I'll catch her at home sitting on the couch looking comfortable and relaxed, and it's just, that won't do. Gotta go mess with her. Nicholas, God damn it! Stop it! You know?
What was Nicholas's defining moment for making me his girlfriend? That's an interesting question. I mean, we did not really have a lot of communication when we first met. I mean, he asked me to take photos of the engagement. Obviously, I was attracted to him. I mean, it's clear he probably was attracted to me now because we're getting married. But I don't know what the actual defining moment was. I think maybe, you know, sometimes I always say I don't believe in love at first sight, but I do believe in, you know, maybe like a karmic chemistry that you feel with someone. And I think obviously there was something there when we first met each other, because I can't even tell you why I decided to drive 2.5 hours from my hometown to go have him for dinner when I talked to him for an hour before that. So it's one of those things that I just haven't really thought about, but I'm glad it happened. So I don't really have a good answer for you.
Who's the first to say I love you? I don't remember. I think it was her. Yeah, it was her. Actually, I do remember. Yeah. We were in my condo back in Dayton. We were laying down to go to sleep one night, and she said she loved me.
Who said I love you first? Me. Okay. And it was like, why did you do that? It happened, it was like word vomit. I was like, oh, come back. And it was already too late, so.
I was stunned. It was pretty quick. I think we'd only really been together for maybe a couple months. And I had always thought she was kind of out of my league, to be honest. And so, well, I mean, she's this, you know, world traveler, Air Force veteran, you know, went to the academy, much more professionally accomplished. So you know, she's beautiful. I just, you know, I didn't think that Kentucky boy with a slow drawl would ever really attract a woman like her. So, yeah, I was shocked. My defining moment for wanting to marry Apphia was when I realized how she could open the world up for me. I was in Dayton, Ohio, you know, working at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and my world was, you know, pretty constrained. It was pretty tight, you know. I realized very quickly the world experience that she had and how she could open my eyes and my experiences to everything on this earth, and that there were new things to be enjoyed and new things to experience that without her I never would have considered. So that was really what made her the one.
I don't know. I think, oh gosh. I think the defining moment might have been, from the moment we started dating. I think, I know for me, like when I saw him, I was like, oh God, this guy is just amazing. And I think that feeling was mutual. So I don't know if there was one thing that happened or a combination of many things that kind of made him decide, you know what, this is, for me, I know for me, I said this is probably as good as it's gonna get. So I'm not interested in looking around and taking the gamble. I've got a good bird in the hand and I'm just gonna stick with this one. Knowing Nicholas's personality, I don't think one thing would get him to that decision. I think it's gonna be a lot of things that's gonna get him there.
How's interracial dating? It is a constant learning process. I think, especially for me, there's a lot about being a minority that you never will learn until you see it firsthand. You can't read a book about it. You can't see it on TV or in a movie. There's a lot of things that are subtle and passive aggressive that are done that as a white person you're never going to understand it until you see it happen to somebody firsthand. And it's important to learn those things and be supportive and to not deny them, right? Don't play it off, don't play it down. It's very important to meet a person who's a minority where they are and how they feel they're treated. It's very important to not diminish it or overlook it.
In the beginning of our relationship, when President Obama was in office, I would make comments about race. You know, I'd lived overseas, I've lived in Belgium and in England, I've deployed, I've been in the military, and I had opinions about race and sex in America and elsewhere, but specifically within the United States, that Nicholas, being from Kentucky, was initially quick to kind of rebuff. So while he had dated someone who was biracial before, he never dated a black person before. And there's a difference between being biracial and being black. No offense to anyone, but there are differences in experience, right? And I'm from Ohio, so I would like to say that I'm a pretty sheltered experience, but I do know that racism exists in America. And there were times that I would bring up things and Nicholas was very quick to rebuff it or ignore it or think maybe you perceive that wrong because, well, we have a black president, how bad can things be, et cetera, et cetera. And I think, you know, me being sensitive now, looking back with him being white, I think he felt like when I said things about white people, maybe I was including him also, right? The election of Donald Trump, we both cried that evening when that came through. And it actually alleviated a lot of the stress in our relationship because I was able to kind of go back to, if you would believe that there was a white lash, I was able to go back to that and say, look, racism is real. Here is manifestation of racism, that people are so angry that you had a black president. They voted for someone who was so far right to kind of equalize in their mind what happened the previous 8 years. Us going together has kind of minimized the belief that I'm just being overly sensitive as a black person, right? So I appreciate that because the baseline of arguments where you might have with someone without that realization that, they think you're being sensitive or you're being a victim, those things immediately were ameliorated from the relationship. I never heard that again. Even discussions about where we're gonna raise our children, where we're gonna buy homes, when I say things like, well, what is the racial relationship there? Or when I ask people, from his hometown, well, what's the race relations like? He's not embarrassed for me to ask that. He understands why I asked that and why I feel as a black person that there might be some very real animosity toward me.
We were in a department store somewhere and she was looking at a pair of shoes and this white woman walked up to her and asked her to go get her a pair of shoes in a certain size, as though like she was working there. Apphia's dressed nice, she's looking at a really expensive pair of shoes, and this woman walks up to her and just assumes, well, there's no way you're shopping here, and asks her to go get a pair of shoes. And I was just shocked, right? I was so shocked I really didn't even catch my tongue to say anything. Apphia chewed her ass. Apphia lit her up, and she should, right? But that was something I remember, right? That, yeah, she's, you know, when she's out places, you know, people will assume that she's not on the same level as them. And that's really frustrating. That really sticks with you.
In the beginning, I don't say it was difficult. It was a little bit kind of slow moving. It was hard for him to understand where I was coming from. And again, you know, that election really got rid of all of that. So it's been surprisingly easy since the election. When I left Belgium, this is a little bit further back, I left the vast majority of my belongings in Belgium. 90% of the things I owned, I just abandoned because the situation was just so visceral. So I've been really slowly piecing my life back together since that experience. And one of the things I really enjoy doing is spinning. So I really wanted a spin bike. I had one in Belgium. I've always had a spin bike in my home. So I found one for a really good price, and it was in someplace in Tennessee that I didn't really know. And I was like, oh, you know, thinking about, you know, driving to pick it up, because you can't really ship that. It costs a lot of money to ship something so heavy and so big. So I was talking to him about, hey, this is a great bike. It's a good price, whatever. And I was like, oh, but it's in Tennessee. I don't really know if I want to drive through West Virginia, and I don't know where else to get to it, you know? And he's like, what's the problem? And I was like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I would definitely not do that by myself. I want to make sure you came with me. And I might even not let the people who I bought the bike from see me, like, you can just go deal with it. And he looked at me and was like, you can't assume that there's this place in this country you can't go because you're Black. And I was like, yes, I can. And he's like, no, you can't. We have a Black president. He's president over the entire country. You can go anywhere you want. And it was at that moment I realized he doesn't really get it. I kind of just didn't say anything, and luckily found a swim bike in this area, but it kind of highlighted to me, you know, he doesn't really get it. And then I started thinking about, how would I explain this if we have children, if something happens to them? Are you also not going to get that too? So it became, I wouldn't say a point that I didn't want to get married to him, but it definitely was something I was concerned about as the relationship progressed.
So, I mean, I guess within the first few times that we went out, you know, I was, you know, I didn't realize, like, she knows like 4 languages, you know. She's a very accomplished world traveler, you know, has lived overseas. You know, I was really amazed. I was blown away with her intellect, right? I mean, I could see that she was beautiful and you know, in every way from pictures, but I had no idea what was between her ears until after I met her and actually spent some time with her. I mean, I figured she was pretty bright. She went to the Air Force Academy and all that, but I had no idea the accomplished professional intellectual that she was. And that was really, yeah, that seals the deal, right? I mean,
the proposal was amazing. You know, he grew up in Kentucky, went to college in Kentucky, then went over the river to Dayton, and didn't really go many places other than that. Whereas me, I went to college in Colorado, I grew up in Ohio, lived in England, lived in Belgium, lived in Iraq, so we have different worldviews. I love traveling, so one of the things I wanted to do for him for his birthday was to take him somewhere unique, because he had mentioned having a really bad birthday a couple of years previously as his relationship was kind of breaking down. So I wanted to do something special for him to kind of, you know, start on the right foot and give him a really unique and fun birthday celebration. So I decided to book his tickets to New York, and we went, I think the weekend after his birthday, because I had a work commitment. And so we get up to New York, and you know, we're talking or whatever, and he kind of lets it slip that he planned to propose. Like, I kind of found out before the proposal, actually. So actually I was happy that he told me that, because he had like, even though it was his birthday weekend, he had a photographer lined up, you know, he had the ring, it was the ring that I wanted, the ring of my dreams, whatever. So he didn't let me see the ring, but seeing that I knew it was coming, I was able to go get my nails done and make sure I looked good for the photos. So what I love about the proposal is that, every part of what we did is just about us. We went to a city that we both really liked. We had a great time there. It was snowing, and we're looking at the top of 30 Rock. It's beautiful up there. I'm wearing a great dress. My nails are done. My makeup is perfect. And he drops on one knee, shows me the ring, and I start crying. The photographer kind of comes out of nowhere. I didn't know who the photographer was. He kind of just showed up. Everybody was around us started clapping, and it was just like a really magical moment, even though it wasn't fully a surprise. It was a surprise when I found out in New York. I'm glad we did it the way we did, because had we not, I'm very vain, and he knows that, so he wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to make sure I looked good in the photos. So it was great. It was perfect. I think that sometimes when you're raised in a minority community in America, you become okay with shooting for just good enough. So you're like, oh, you know what? I've got this job and I'm making this amount of money, and that's good enough. I don't need to be a millionaire. I'm doing well. I'm able to be comfortable. So what else do I need to aspire for, right? And we become okay with almost settling. When I met Nicholas, we were starting to talk about the relationship. It progressed very quickly, actually. I think when you're older, you can do that. We talked about, engagement and everything else. And I said, oh, I don't want a big ring, because my previous engagement, I wanted this really big ring. And I was like, I don't want that. I just want something very simple. And he's like, you're not a simple girl, and I'm not buying you a simple ring. So this whole story about you and a silver band is some bullshit. It's literally what he said. This is some bullshit, and I'm not buying you that. I'm not putting my name on garbage. I'm giving you the best that I can afford, because you deserve the best. And when it happened, I didn't really think about it. It's kind of like, okay, my mind is you're spending money unnecessarily. We can use it to buy a house, have babies. I'm thinking about the actual metrics of what's going on, like mechanically, right? Organically, when you asked me the question, it's the first time I thought about it. What Nicholas did to fill my bucket is he made me realize I don't have to settle for just good enough. And that's so powerful in America right now, as a woman and as a Black woman, that I don't have to just take whatever I can get. It's okay for me to aspire to be better than what I thought I could be. It's okay for me to ask for a $6,000 wedding dress, which is the price of my wedding dress. That's okay. It's okay for me to ask for that. I don't have to say, well, I can only afford this dress. I found the dress I wanted. He was like, okay, we're gonna get the dress you want. This is the stuff that makes him fill the buckets without me even knowing he's filling them. Because now in other areas of my life, I've begun to think, why should I settle for this? Because I didn't settle for it with something that was very easy, like an engagement ring, which you could have bought a cheaper version, or a cheaper wedding dress. So why in other areas of my life should I just be okay with whatever I get? And I think that is what, that story of him doing that, because maybe he was not raised in the same way I was raised. Maybe his experiences are different. That's something I'm just looking forward to sharing with our children too, that I'll raise children who will not have the residue of slavery that I do. The things that I look at as a Black person, think there's a glass ceiling. He doesn't have that, he's a white man. And Nicholas does not believe there's anything he can't do, literally. He's just like, why couldn't I do that? And even though I thought I was someone who really thought I could do everything, there are limitations to what I believe I can do. And he has no limitation at all. So it's so unique to be with somebody who really pushes my boundaries. And that's what I think he's really done to fill my bucket and make me a better woman and eventually a better wife and mother, as we carry on our journey.
She offers to me an opportunity to learn a lot, to broaden my horizons, and expand my knowledge, expand my career. And it's not just work and serious stuff. It's also different types of food, going different places and seeing beautiful sights, things like that. That because I had not really traveled abroad that much, I had no idea that all these wonderful things in the world existed, right? But she does, and that's really captivating to me, right? That I'm with someone who can show you the world and the really amazing things that there are to see in it.
So I thought your defining moment for marrying me happened after our first
times getting together. I basically didn't know what the real defining moment was, but I knew you had decided sometime in between our first date and Christmas that you wanted to marry me. But I don't know actually what the real moment was. So I guess you can tell me now.
So for me, it wasn't really a moment or an aha, immediate type of thing. It wasn't a time or a place we were at. It was what I learned about you that I could never have told from pictures. When I looked at pictures of you, it was abundantly obvious. You're a beautiful woman. You take care of yourself. You're successful. All that. What I didn't have any inkling of was the intellect of you, right? And your knowledge of the world and how being with you could open up this entire earth to me. There are things that I never knew of. There are places I never knew to go. Everything I never knew to try. All those things that if I had just sat in my little box and never met you, I would have never known about any of those things. And that was why I knew you were the one.